Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
The California tour continues after 3 games in San Francisco. The D-backs have arrived in Los Angeles for the Final Four against the Dodgers this year. L.A. sun might be setting on their regular season. They're thinking division title. The magic number for the Dodgers, clinching the NL West, is 7 with 14 to play. D-backs only 4-11 against the Dodgers on the year. Still winless in this ballpark. Time to change that. It's the D-backs and the Dodgers on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from Dodger Stadium. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, the first of 4 here in Los Angeles. And the D-backs have gone from a ballpark in which they dominated this year, San Francisco, to a ballpark, Bob, in which they've yet to win this season. 0-6 at Dodger Stadium this year.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Dodgers on their way to the postseason have really handled the bottom 3 teams in the National League West, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Padres. However, they are 0-6 at AT&T Park in San Francisco, so still some work to be done here for the Dodgers.
Magic number of 7 with 14 to play. The Giants are off tonight. D-backs and Dodgers first of 4. 4 games here, Bob. We see 3 left-hand starters for L.A.
Yeah, one of them is a guy named Kershaw. We've been very fortunate to miss him the last couple go-rounds against the Dodgers, but this time you get Brett Anderson, Alex Wood, Zach Greinke, and that Kershaw guy on Thursday against Patrick Corbin. Should be a great matchup for the day game.
Well, it's muggy here, a little overcast. You saw the sky a moment ago. A beautiful night in Los Angeles. This series, perhaps a showcase of lefties as the Dodgers audition Game 3 postseason starters. Todd Walsh has more on that. Then it's first pitch from Dodger Stadium.
Part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new spicy nacho chicken sandwich munchie meal tonight, only at Jack in the Box.
Spectacular night for baseball here in Southern California. Dodger Stadium, to be specific. Our exclusive coverage of Diamondbacks baseball continues here on Fox Sports Arizona. I'm Todd Walsh inside the Arizona Diamondbacks dugout, as Steve and Bob just alluded to, as we talked about on Diamondbacks Live, the pregame show. 3 left-handers out of 4 games the Dodgers will throw at the Arizona Diamondbacks, meaning Chip Hale has some options, some decisions to make, like, for example, tonight. Look what he has leading off. It's Ender Inciarte, Aaron Hill, then A.J. Pollock dropping Paul Goldschmidt to 4th. He's batting cleanup. Here's Chip Hale's take on that.
If you think about it in this sense that, you know, A.J.'s been our hottest hitter. Ender's done a nice job of getting on base since the All-Star break. Hilly swung a bat really well against left-handed pitching. So we got our 3-4 best hitters at the top of our lineup. And then if our first 3 guys make out in the first inning, who has the highest on-base percentage on our team is Goldie. So now he becomes a really good leadoff hitter in the second inning for us. And if he does get up in the first inning, you know there's a chance for him to drive runs in. So that's a great thing about hitting 4th.
And by the way, for the record, the last time Paul Goldschmidt hit 4th in the game that he started, June 2nd, 2013 against the Cubs. Oh, all he did was go 2 for 3 with 3 runs, an RBI, and 2 stolen bases. We'll see how it plays out here tonight. We'll take a short break, and we'll come back. Steve Bertino and Bob Brentley have the call. It's game 1 of 4. Game 4 of 10 on the road. It's the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Folks, it's coming up next.
Major League appearance and third base for LA tonight. Diamondbacks only 4-11 against the Dodgers this year. And as we close out the season series with 4 here in LA this week, the Diamondbacks have yet to win in this ballpark this season, 0-6 at Dodger Stadium. Your Arizona Ford starter for LA, it's Brett Anderson, the 27-year-old left-hander. Healthy and effective in this his first year with LA. Tonight, he faces the Diamondbacks for the 5th time this year. Here's Chip Hale.
Yeah, we just have to get the ball up. He's almost a left-handed Hudson. He's pitched really well down in the zone this year. He's got a little bigger breaking ball than Huddy does. But if we do not elevate the ball, it'll be a lot like yesterday where we're hitting a lot of ground balls. Some double play balls will probably occur. So it's going to be imperative to get the ball up.
Yeah, the big number for Brett Anderson, the one that's not shown here, his ground ball rate just under 67% for the year, making him by far the most effective ground ball pitcher in all of baseball. He is numero uno in terms of ground ball frequency.
He likes to use that two-seam fastball across the bottom of the zone. He's got a big sweeping slider that has a little more break, you heard, than Tim Hudson's breaking ball. You see the ground ball percentage this season. Brett Anderson at the top of the list in the National League. We've seen Tyson Ross. We've seen Jake Arrieta. Brett Anderson tonight, as you heard Chip Hale say, you got to make him get the ball up.
Ender Inciarte is up to lead it off. Bob Davidson is our plate umpire. We are underway, first of 4 in Los Angeles. Ender just outside the top 10 in the league in hitting. He's at .301. He's got 4 home runs. And he is the only left-hand bat in the starting lineup tonight against Brett Anderson. Diamondbacks have 8 righties versus the lefty. The Dodgers have 8 lefties against the righty. Yolis Chacin on the mound for Arizona. 1-1 pitch is in there for a strike. It's 1-2.
You mentioned Ender Inciarte knocking on the door of the top 10 in the National League. That would give the Diamondbacks 4 hitters in the top 10 in the National League.
Says a lot about where this club is headed, that's for sure. And missed inside. Ender's had a hot bat lately, coming off back-to-back 3-hit games at San Francisco Saturday and Sunday. Swing and bunt. Anderson is not a great defensive player. He doesn't field his position particularly well, but he handles that one cleanly for the first out. Let's take a look at the lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks tonight.
Number 2.
Ender Inciarte, as you mentioned, at the top of the order. He'll be out in right field. Aaron Hill at second base tonight. A.J. Pollock out in center field with Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Yasmani Tomas with another start against the lefty. He's out in left field. Brandon Drury at third. Nick Ahmed at short. And Yolis Chacin on the mound for the D-backs.
Here's Aaron Hill. And you wonder, with Bob Chase Utley making his first ever start in the major leagues, first ever appearance, in fact, at third base, maybe drop down a bunt or two.
I'm telling you, if the Diamondbacks don't, there ought to be an investigation.
That one is in the gap in left center field, and Aaron Hill will take the turn, being very cautious with that nagging hamstring injury that kept him out most of this month. And he's in there with his 15th double.
Center fielder number 11, A.J. Pollock.
Solid contact by Aaron Hill right here. Gets a pitch up above the belt. That's what you're looking for against Brett Anderson. He's ready for it and drives it into that gap in left center for a double.
He's in scoring position with 1 out for A.J. Pollock. A.J. in the 3 spot in the lineup tonight, just ahead of Goldie. 5th in the National League in hitting with that .319 average. And Chip Hale said today he's toyed with the idea of putting A.J. in the 3 spot ahead of Goldie for about the last week or so. And they felt with a lefty Anderson going tonight, this would be a good time to try it. So Goldie on deck batting cleanup. 1-1.
I don't think it creates any change for any of the guys involved. I mean, they're not going to change their approach. Paul Goldschmidt's not suddenly going to become a different hitter because he's down 1 spot in the lineup. Really, the only change is there's no guarantee that you get up in the first inning as the number 4 hitter.
So far, they've been able to put at least 1 base runner on ahead of Goldie, and that should be a key to the ball game tonight. 1-2 now on A.J. Pollock. A.J. comes into tonight with a 9-game hitting streak. He's batting just under .390 during that streak. Up the middle, Howie Kendrick is back. Just returned to the lineup over the weekend. Aaron Hill in at third, now with 2 outs for Goldie.
Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game. I think you were looking at my notes, partner. Because our #1 key to the ball game is give Goldie something to clean up. They call him a cleanup hitter for a reason. He's got a runner at third base with 2 outs here in the first. And these Dodgers, magic number 7. Any combination of Dodger wins, Giants losses that equals 7, and they'll head to the postseason as the National League West champs. Let's just slow that parade down a little bit next 4 days.
Let's be the cake float in their Faber Founders Day parade. So Goldie batting cleanup at .315. At .983 OPS would be a career high. Drives it out to right field. ETHIER. Brett Anderson strands the 1-out double just underway in Los Angeles. Fourth start with the D-backs this year. Still looking for his first win. He's your Arizona Ford starting pitcher. 5 innings his previous time out. That was last Tuesday against the Padres at Chase Field. Mixed reviews from his pitching coach, Mike Harkey.
A little bit better command of his sinker than he had his last start. I mean, he was still able to scrape out 5 innings last start, but he had a lot of bad counts, and he definitely can't pitch that way for very long.
Chacin continuing his comeback from shoulder trouble following his release from the Rockies this spring. A 2.95 ERA in his first 3 starts with the D-backs.
Velocity maybe a little bit down, which we're used to seeing from Chacin over the course of his career. However, I think he's getting more movement on that 2-seamer, which is maybe why he's not able to command it as consistently as he'd like.
He throws strike 1 to Carl Crawford, who leads it off for the Dodgers. Of course, having pitched for Colorado for so long, Chacin certainly familiar with Dodger Stadium in LA.
Now last 5 starts here, 4 quality starts, an ERA just over 2.5.
Big cut at that one from Crawford. Chacin ahead, 1-2. He likely could have pitched longer in his last start. Had to be pinch hit for after 5 innings. He only threw 83 pitches, so he pitched into the 7th inning in both his first 2 starts. And looking for a similar effort here tonight. How about that? 2.89 here. Just down and in. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Muggy here all day today. It's been very hot in Los Angeles. Muggy and overcast all afternoon. Kind of felt like rain. About a 15% chance, we're told, tonight. Reaches out and taps it back to the mound. Chacin throws out Crawford, one down. The lineup for Don Mattingly's LA Dodgers.
Carl Crawford in the leadoff spot. He'll be out in left field. Chase Utley at third base tonight. Adrian Gonzalez down at first. Howie Kendrick recently back in the active roster for the Dodgers. He'll be at second. Andre Ethier out in right. Corey Seager, the young man, having a great start to his career at shortstop once again. Yasmani Grandal doing the catching. Jock Peterson in center. Brett Anderson, the lefty, on the mound.
Here is Chase Utley, 214 with 7 home runs. He has never played a single major league inning at third base. That was until the top half of the first, but he is starting at third tonight.
And as you quite accurately pointed out, Brett Anderson is not a good fielding pitcher. And you got a guy playing a position he's never played before, a guy who had some throwing issues from second base. That's why I think the Diamondbacks should at least attempt a couple of bunt base hits just to see if Utley can handle it.
Yeah, certainly from Ender in the leadoff spot. Nick Ahmed's a very good bunter, batting 8th tonight. A.J. Pollock, I don't know if you want your 3-hole hitter bunting, but he could certainly drop one down.
Depending on the situation, if he was leading off an inning, maybe you'd like to see A.J. bunt his way on base, or 2 outs, nobody on, maybe bunt his way on for Goldie. But yeah, most of the time you're going to want A.J. to swing the bat as hot as he is.
And Chip Hale had Brett Anderson when Chip was on the staff in Oakland, and he has consistently said he's a very good pitcher. He just doesn't field his position especially well, and that's something he's looking to take advantage of tonight. And so you've got Howie Kendrick, who just returned this weekend from his hamstring injury. He was out about 6 weeks. And Kendrick is being worked back in at second base every day. Justin Turner is limping around right now. He's got a sore left knee. And so for the first time in his career, it's Utley at third base. There's Justin Turner. A one hopper right to Goldie. 2 down. Adrian Gonzalez.
First baseman, number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Steady as there is. Easy one-handed backhand. Easily going to win that race to first base. I think Dodger fans they probably feel about Goldie the way we feel about Adrian Gonzalez in Arizona. You know, every time this guy comes to town, he does something to beat us.
He is like Godzilla in Tokyo in this ballpark, Goldie. The numbers are staggering. First pitch swinging, drives it deep to center. A.J. Pollock backing up, and A.J. can't get that one. It's gone. Gonzalez, a homer, is 28th, and it's 1-0 Dodgers. You thought after the home run robbery in San Francisco that maybe A.J. could make it 2 in a row, but that one over his head in straightaway center.
Up and out over. That's a nightmare against Adrian Gonzalez. He's either going to hit it high in the air and get it out of the ballpark, or drive it to that gap in left center off the glove of A.J. Pollock. That's how close he came that time.
Hendrick jumps on the first pitch as well and knocks it into the right center field gap. Well, at least Chacin has got to get the ball down.
And we've seen this approach from several different offenses this year against Diamondbacks pitchers, not just Chacin. Attack the first fastball they see early in the ball game, and that's what the Dodgers are doing here. As you see A.J., that's about as close as you can get without actually making the catch. Yeah, you've either got to improve your location of that first delivery or go to something other than a fastball.
Gonzalez all smiles after that one, is 28th of the year. Andre Ethier, 293 and 13 home runs. Ethier hit 10 homers in the first half of the year, but he's homered only 3 times since the All-Star break. This is Adrian Gonzalez's 16th game against the Diamondbacks this year. That was just his 4th RBI. And for the most part held him in check this season. A ball and a strike to ETHIER. Kendrick at first, 2 outs. That one is through and into right, a base hit. Kendrick will not test the hammy. INCIARTE ready, but it's first and second, 2 down now for the rookie Corey Seager. 3 straight Dodger hits with 2 outs against Chacin.
Just a well-placed grounder that time. He just smothers that sinker, beats it into the ground in front of home plate, but because Goldie was holding on Howie Kendrick, he just couldn't get to that one. Sneaks through into right field for a base hit.
And the legend of Corey Seager continues. The 21-year-old rookie has done nothing but hit since he came up September 3rd. Kendrick at second, ETHIER at first, 2 down. Seager at 379. He's got 2 home runs. He's only played in 16 major league games. Seager hit his first career Dodger Stadium home run here Friday. That was off the Pirates' Jeff Locke, a left-hander.
He's a very poised young hitter. We talked about it when they were at Chase Field earlier this season. I mentioned the fact he's got very soft eyes. He just kind of sees the entire field in front of him until the pitcher's just about ready to release the ball, and then all his attention is focused on that release point. But up until then, very relaxed, very calm.
That one is blistered down the right field line, a fair ball. It's in the corner. Kendrick will score. Automatically he'll stop. ETHIER at third base. It's an RBI double for Corey Seager, who continues to hit. 4 consecutive hits with 2 outs for LA.
Just inside that first baseline. Another middle of the plate slider this time. Hooks it right past Goldie down that first baseline. That's always trouble in this ballpark.
Here comes Mike Harkey for a word.
You see Ender INCIARTE very carefully chasing that ball along that retaining wall right there. It'll take some funny hops, just like that throw back in took a funny hop on Aaron Hill.
Started off very well for Yolis Chacin. 2 quick outs. He got Crawford. He got Utley. Gonzalez homered. Kendrick singled, ETHIER singled, the RBI double for Seager, and it's quickly 2-0. Second and third, 2 outs for YASMANI GRANDAL, the catcher.
YASMANI GRANDAL.
Chacin has got to find a way to stop the bleeding right here with GRANDAL, who's sitting 248. He's got 15 home runs. GRANDAL is scuffling through a very difficult slump right now. He's got a painfully sore left shoulder. He is 2 for his last 47 at the plate. He had a 2-hit game last Monday against the Rockies. And those have been GRANDAL's only 2 hits since August 16th. Two and one. It seems like we've seen this so many times, Bob. A Diamondback starter in trouble in the first, over 20 pitches. It's become an all too familiar routine for Chip Hale.
Yeah, digging a hole that the offense has to try to shovel their way out of for the rest of the evening.
That's in there for a strike. 2-2.
The Dodgers are very good here at home. One of only 4 teams in baseball to have 50 wins at home this year. Dodgers are 50-24 here at Dodger Stadium. Only 35-39 on the road.
Yeah, their record for home wins in a season is 55, so they're threatening that this year.
You see the winning percentage at home this season. Dodgers, Cardinals, Astros, Pirates. What do all those teams have in common? Royals, Blue Jays.
They're all going to October. 3-2.
Well, you're supposed to take care of business at home. That's the old formula. Take 2 out of 3 at home, split on the road.
You got the rookie Jock Peterson on deck. He would be next. You don't want to give him a chance to get up there with his power and runners on base. He didn't check. Yes, he went, says Bob Davidson. And Chacin strands 2, but the Dodgers get 2. They lead it 2-0. Diet Pepsi. Same crisp and refreshing flavor you love. Now aspartame free. Pick up some today at your local retailer. It's the new Diet Pepsi. Top of the second, Adrian Gonzalez. A solo homer is 28th of the year. Part of a 2-0 Dodger first. And Wellington Castillo will lead it off for the Diamondbacks against the lefty Brett Anderson. Castillo, 244. He's got 19 home runs. And 51 RBIs this year, both those numbers career highs. 17 of those home runs coming with the Diamondbacks.
20 looks so much better on the back of your baseball card. You might as well hit one more. At least one more.
It's just an aesthetic,
yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Well, Castillo's had a fairly quiet month at the plate. He's hitting an even 200 in September with 2 homers. Utley's first test at third base. Makes a perfect throw to Gonzalez, one away.
On the field, number 24, YASMANI TOMÁS.
Here's YASMANI TOMÁS.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
You're owed some tacos.
Oh, no kid. I just think we ought to have at least one participating location in every National League city, just in case.
I think we can map that out. Tomas getting the start in left field tonight against the left-hander Brett Anderson. Hate to see such a young kid go wrong so quickly.
Yeah, the green undershirt. What a mistake.
Well, Anderson behind on Tomás, 3-0. Yasmani 1 for 3, had a triple in his last start. That was Friday in San Francisco. Tapper back to the mound. An easy play for Brett Anderson. He's retired 4 in a row, 2 down.
Third baseman, number 62, Brandon Drury.
Chip Hale loading up his lineup with right-hand hitters against Anderson, so it's a start at third for Brandon Drury, the rookie. 5 for 24 to begin his big league career. He's got a pair of RBIs.
Those left-handed bats available off the bench could play a big factor later in this ball game. You just know Brett Anderson's not going to pitch deep into this ball game. Don Mattingly's going to have to get into that bullpen, and at some point David Peralta, Jake Lamb, Socrates Brito, Jared Saltalamacchia, those left-handed bats available off the bench could play a big role.
There's Salty. Anderson really having problems now throwing strikes. Went to 3 balls on Tomás. He's behind on Drury, 2-1. Blistered to center, a base hit for Brandon. Second hit for the Diamondbacks.
Shortstop, number 13.
I've seen a lot of Drury's hits go right back up the middle of the field. A very disciplined swing on a 2-0 count. A lot of young players try to hit this ball out in the Dodger bullpen, but he just stays right on a pitch away and drives it up the middle of the field.
So here is Nick Ahmed, one of the potential bunters in this D-backs lineup, with Chase Utley down there at third. Utley well back now with 2 outs. 222 and 9 homers. Although with 2 outs, the pitcher coming up next. Not a great bunt situation.
Well, you would clear the pitcher spot, and you know what a big fan of that I am. Get those pitchers out of the way whenever you can.
Nick rolls it up the middle. That's one way to clear the pitcher spot. A base hit for Ahmed. Back-to-back 2-out singles.
Pitcher number 47.
That's even better than a bunt, because now you still have the bunt for a base hit in your back pocket, possibly for later in the game if Utley's playing that far back again. Now, if you even show bunt right there, chances are Chase Utley's going to come in close to the baseline just to take that bunt away. So the fact that he didn't even show bunt in that at bat should work in his favor moving forward.
Yolis Chacin.
The first pitch strike for Brett Anderson in this ball game comes to the opposing pitcher.
Now it's 0-2.
I think of a guy like Brett Anderson or Tim Hudson that we faced yesterday in San Francisco, guys who rely on that downward movement to get ground balls. And Dusty Baker, as a hitting coach, used to always talk about hitting different parts of the baseball. Now, this is really fine-tuned stuff, but Dusty would say when you're facing a sinker baller, try to hit the bottom of the baseball. If you're facing a guy that throws a straight four-seamer, try to hit it right in the mouth, he used to say, right in the middle of the ball. And you know, if you're facing a guy that's got a little extra giddy up, that little extra hop on his fastball and likes to work up in the zone, focus on hitting the top half of the baseball.
But against a ground ball pitcher like this, hit the bottom to try and prevent yourself from just knocking it into the ground.
It's just kind of a mental picture that you get for yourself as you're in that batter's box. I want to hit the bottom part of the baseball. That way, that late movement, you track the movement and you continue to try to hit the bottom of the ball as it's moving. A little more than I could handle, but certainly a lot of Dusty's good hitters would swear to it.
Well, Chacin keeps hitting part of the baseball here in this at bat. Doesn't make contact there. So Anderson strands two. He's got a 2-0 lead. Your Arizona Tire Pros is giving away 4 tires, free oil changes for a year, and an Apple iPad. You can register in-store or online at ArizonaTirePros.com for your chance to win with the pros. Bottom 2 in Los Angeles, Jock Peterson will lead it off for the Dodgers against Yolis Chacin. LA with 2 in the bottom of the first. Adrian Gonzalez a solo homer, and Corey Seager an RBI double. As Chacin got the first 2 outs quickly, then gave up 4 straight base hits, a homer, 2 singles, and a double. And here's Peterson. Diamondbacks have the shift on. Ahmed all by himself on the left-hand side of shortstop. Peterson just .218 this year, but he's got 25 home runs. Taking those big cuts.
Always, always. I was about to say Nick Ahmed playing shallow by himself on that left side of the infield. We did see Jock Peterson show bunt a couple times at Chase Field, bunted 1 foul, pulled the bat back another time. So rather than play at his normal shortstop position and cover that entire left side of the infield, Nick's got to play in a little bit more shallow.
See those big swings from Jock Peterson, 23-year-old rookie. He's been pretty much this year an all-or-nothing guy. Got 25 homers. That ties him with the Cubs' Chris Bryant for the lead among major league rookies. Pops this one up. One down.
Pitcher number 35, Brett Anderson.
Here's Brett Anderson now. And one of the biggest questions, maybe the biggest question for the Dodgers going into the postseason, as of right now, would be who starts a game 3 for them behind Kershaw and Greinke. And as of right now, you'd have to say it's Brett Anderson. He's got a base hit. Reaches out and knocks it into left center. 5th hit for the Dodgers. I mean, LA brought in a bunch of pitchers over the course of the year. Few have worked out. In fact, they just cut Matt Latos loose after they picked him up from Miami at the trade deadline this year. They also acquired Alex Wood from the Braves in that same deal. Brandon McCarthy has been out all year, Tommy John surgery. They haven't had Hyunjin Ryu. And after the big two, Anderson has been their best pitcher. Carl Crawford knocks it the other way. Tomás will cut it off. Anderson stops at second. Dodgers are having no problem squaring up Jhoulys Chacín here tonight.
A lot of fastballs up in the zone. When they're inside, the Dodgers have been pulling the ball. When they're away, they've been taking them to the opposite field. Might want to mix in some first pitch change ups, some first pitch breaking balls. I mean, sometimes you have a great game plan when you leave that bullpen, and then the opposing team will tell you what they're going to try to do, and it's pretty apparent in the early going the Dodgers are going to attack the first fastball they see close to that strike zone.
Anderson at second, Crawford at first. Utley grounded out his first time up. Utley had a 9-game hitting streak going earlier this month, but since that streak ended a week ago, he has won for his last 21 at the plate. His batting average for the year has dropped 10 points in the last week. Don't know if this will be Chase Utley's last year in the big leagues, but if it is, it's ending where it began in a sense. He's from Long Beach and played at UCLA. It's been a good run.
Yeah, really good run. Part of some great Phillies teams. Early in his career, could steal a base for you, played tremendous defense on that right side of the infield. A lot of clutch base hits, along with Jimmy Rollins, his shortstop partner in Philadelphia all those years.
Well, Chacín's behind now, 3 balls and a strike. Utley just last year was an all-star. First time since 2010 for him. His 6th all-star game appearance. And even on those bad knees, he played in 155 games last season. Chacín had strike 1. Now he's behind 3 balls at a strike. There you go.
Good breaking ball on the 3-1 pitch. I don't know a hitter in the big leagues that looks for a breaking ball 3-1. You're looking for a fastball. You're looking for a particular location in the strike zone, and you're ready to swing that bat. And that time, Chacín crossed him up.
Castillo able to hang on to the foul tip. And that's the second strikeout for Chacín. 2 down in the second. Here's Gonzalez again.
Back-to-back sliders to polish off Chase Utley. That one, a lot of downward movement right in the middle of the plate. Utley just tips it right into the glove of Wellington Castillo.
No, Gonzalez, 1 inning ago, took a cut at the first pitch he saw and knocked it out of here to straightaway center field. His 28th home run. So he's now hit safely in 7 straight. This was Gonzalez with 2 outs in the first. Just a hanger. Looked like it got a piece of A.J. Pollock's glove on the way out, just off the tip.
You saw A.J. looking at his glove to see if the ball was in there. I talk all the time about those big outfielders' gloves, and if the ball doesn't hit right in the pocket, sometimes you don't know whether you have it or not. Those are big, long gloves out there that those guys use.
3-0.
You know he has the green light if it's to his liking.
It's a 4-pitch walk, and the bases are loaded for Howie Kendrick. No shortage of LA base runners so far here against Yolis Chacin.
47, Howie Kendrick.
Kendrick singled and scored his first time up. He drives it out to INCIARTE. And Ender is there. Chacin walks the high wire but leaves him loaded. It stays 2-0.
I dodged a bunch of them barely. Yeah, I think it was $100 for whoever hits Grace today, and nobody collected. But man, I was oh my god, yeah, they hit it hard.
What were you throwing? What was your repertoire?
Well, it was gas, just gas.
Yeah, well, that's the world according to Mark Grace, who was out throwing early BP today. That's Phil Gosselin as the. Well, he went inside, a little purpose pitch there after Phil had the comeback. And again, Bob, this in part, Steve, due to the fact that Chip Hale has a bad back, so the skipper can't throw. So Mark was out there early today.
How important is it, BB, to have a guy who can throw left-hand batting practice?
Well, a lot of teams have a designated left-handed batting practice pitcher, and the only day he shows up at the ballpark is when you're facing a left-handed starting pitcher. Now, the Diamondbacks are fortunate to have Mark Grace on the staff who can throw from the left side once in a while, but yeah, a lot of teams carry a full-time left-handed BP pitcher that only shows up on those days.
Should have rented one for the week here.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Call Kelly girls.
And lefties in 3 of these 4 games for LA. Ender INCIARTE leads off the 3rd.
He is not available tonight in the pen. I can confirm that.
Might need him. Ender tapped back to the mound his first time up. Utley is in on the grass at 3rd.
If I'm not mistaken, we play the Blue Jays next year, right? In
We do.
play?
We go to Toronto.
Tom Candiotti, get it loose. We're going to have to see that knuckleball in batting practice.
Nice.
Yeah, when I played with the Giants, we had a local community college coach who was a really good batting practice pitcher, threw from the left side, could throw an hour at a time without a break, and yeah, he used to show up only on days we faced left-handed starters.
Now, what makes a really good batting practice pitcher?
Throw strikes first and foremost, and even if you have the ability to throw outside, inside, up, down, command a little bit, give the guys an idea of what they're going to see that night.
Ender slaps it the other way. It's down the left field line. Crawford plays it off the wall. A leadoff double in the third for Ender INCIARTE, his 27th of the year.
Number 2, Aaron Hill.
Ender back-to-back 3-hit games over the weekend against the Giants, and a leadoff double in the third.
Boy, that is nice hitting right there. Just let that breaking ball get deep on the outside part of the plate and shot it down into that left field corner, scattering the security guards and the ball dudes. Love those leadoff doubles.
4th hit for the D-backs against Brett Anderson. Aaron Hill doubled his first time up. And for as rocky as a start as it's been for Jhoulys Chacín, it's still only 2-0. So he's done a good job in that regard of limiting the damage. Left him loaded in the bottom of the second. A roller to second. Kendrick is there. So Aaron Hill hits it to the right side, moves INCIARTE along. One away for A.J. Pollock.
Number 11, A.J. Pollock.
A.J. grounded out to Kendrick his first time. A.J. a big series in San Francisco over the weekend. 6 for 12, a couple of walks. He scored 3 times.
Boy, it really opened a lot of eyes for people who may not have been aware how good a season A.J. Pollock is having. He went into San Francisco and put on a show.
Top 5 in the league in hitting right now. And he has hit just under .350 since the All-Star break. In fact, no player in the National League has more hits in the second half of the season than A.J. Pollock.
He's getting in rare territory for center fielders. You go all the way back to 1945, and to hit .315, 35 or more doubles, 35 or more steals, it's a pretty short list. Jacoby Ellsbury back in 2011 for the Red Sox, Kenny Lofton for the Indians in '96, and Cesar Cedeno did it a couple of times for the Houston Astros.
Boy, he had some big years, Cesar Cedeno. And then you factor in A.J.'s defense, and you're talking about MVP votes. This is in the air, right center field. Jock Peterson has it. INCIARTE will come in. It's another RBI for A.J. That's 68 on the year, and it's a 2-1 ball game.
Number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
So they got him on, they got him over, and they got him in.
Got him in. It's hard to imagine a spot in this lineup where A.J. would not be a good fit. He's done a great job as a leadoff hitter. He seems ideally suited to be a number 2 guy in the 3-hole tonight. We've talked in the past that, you know, maybe the best spot for him might be 5 or 6, more of an RBI situation, but just so he's in the lineup.
Yeah, you put him 150 games or so in 3, 4, or 5. I mean, he'll hit 25 homers and drive in 80-something runs at least. But he's also extremely valuable at the top of the lineup. Kind of like Charlie Blackmon in Colorado. It's nice to have a guy that can bat leadoff, steal 35, 40 bases, and hit you 20 home runs or so.
Every now and then put you on the board with the first at bat of the game.
3-0 to Goldie is in there for a strike. Goldie in the cleanup spot, first time since June of 2013. And there's the walk. First walk for Brett Anderson. And we'll get a look at Wellington Castillo.
Number 7, Wellington Castillo.
Castillo grounded out to Utley at third his first time up. This time it's on the ground to short. Seager flips to Kendrick for the force on Goldie, and that's the inning. But the Diamondbacks get one. They trail it 2-1. Starting on Fox with a battle for control of the NL wild card. It's the Pirates and the Cubs, an enormous game there. And then the Brew Crew takes on the NL Central leading Cardinals in a game you can see only on FS1. Coverage starts Saturday 9:30 on Fox, continues at 3:30 on FS1. Bottom third at Dodger Stadium. And Elise Chacin been a rocky road so far. He left the bases loaded in the second. And after a 2-run LA first, Diamondbacks have got one back on the INCIARTE double and the Pollock sac fly. And now ETHIER will lead off the LA third. ETHIER, SEAGER, GRANDAL 5, 6, and 7. ETHIER a base hit his first time up. And there's ball one. This is a guy who has played a key role for the Dodgers this year. They're still without Yasiel Puig. Crawford missed 75 games. And ETHIER has been the constant in the outfield. Even Jock Peterson lost his starting job for a while, the rookie. ETHIER blasts one out to right. INCIARTE. Ender runs it down just shy of the wall out there for a loud out number one. That ball was scorched.
Number 5, Corey Seager.
Got a nice jump on it that time. Uses his speed to get back there just shy of the warning track and make the play on that ball. Looked like it was going to get over his head initially off the bat, but Ender makes a nice recovery and gets the out.
The rookie Corey Seager, an RBI double in the first. He has reached base safely in all 16 games this year. 14 of those starts. That, by the way, all 16 games in his career. And he had a big series against the D-backs at Chase Field earlier this month. 5 for 9. A double and a home run. He also walked 5 times in that 3-game set. Don Lejean drives it to left center. AJ. 2 hard hit balls to the warning track here in the LA third. Even his outs are loud.
Number 9, YASMANI GRANDAL.
YASMANI GRANDAL, a strikeout victim to win the first. 2 for his last 48 up there. D-backs have the shift on. Ahmed all by himself on the left-hand side. Chacin already at 50 pitches, 31 strikes. Coming at you, BB.
We're safe.
I tell you to duck, but there's no room to move in this booth.
If it comes up here tonight, one of us is going to get hit.
Going down. Then it'll really be time for Dodger baseball. Rolled into the shift, Aaron Hill from the outfield grass. And Yolis Chacin recovers with a 1-2-3 third. He's retired 4 in a row. And through 3, Diamondbacks trail at 2-1.
2-1 Dodgers as we head to the top half of the 4th inning on this day in Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. September 21st, 1998, Jason Kendall, catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, sets a new National League record for catchers when he steals his 26th base of the season.
I wonder who picked that one.
You'll never guess. Broke the record that was formerly held by one of the great nicknames in the history of the game, John Bad Dude Stearns.
John Stearns, the great Mets catcher.
Yeah. Bad Dude could run too.
Was he really a bad dude?
Yeah, he's a pretty bad dude.
All right.
He didn't mind mixing it up a little bit.
Well, he's in New York. Tomás drives one out to left, and that ball will get out of here. It's gone. Yasmani Tomás, his 9th, and we are all tied up.
Just like that.
Bang! That one got out of here on a rope.
Yeah, I saw Crawford not really giving it much of an effort. I thought he was just going to play the carom off the wall out there in left field, but that one got enough to get up and over the barrier in left. Line drive homer.
There's that power that is in there. There's no question about that. He is a very strong young man. And so suddenly it's a whole new ball game. 2-2. Both home runs coming on the first pitch, and now Brandon Drury swings at the first one, and it rolls all the way to the wall in right center. And the rookie is in there at second. His second major league double.
Number 13, Nick Ahmed.
So now it's Brett Anderson leaving the ball up, and the Diamondbacks taking advantage.
Pitcher's actually sneaking toward the inner part of the plate, but that inside out swing that time by Drury produces that line drive into the gap in right center. I mentioned I like those leadoff doubles. I like them even better after a leadoff home run.
Tell you what, Brandon Drury is a hitter. He is a hitter. Just turned 23 last month. Bright future ahead. Diamondbacks have had runners in scoring position in every inning in the ball game. This is bounced to the right side, right at Kendrick. So a good job there by Nick as the runner moves into third.
Nice job moving that runner up. Ideally, you sneak that ball through the right side or line it into right field or center field to move the runner up. But at worst, you take that ground ball to second to move the runner to third with less than 2 outs.
Well, on his first at bat, Chacin was up there hacking. He got a piece of 3 or 4 foul balls before he finally struck out. Dodgers infield will come in now with Drury at third and 1 down. Trying to get that go-ahead run in from third. Slaps it back toward the mound. Anderson will look Drury back. He'll think about coming home, but retreats back to the third base bag, and that's the second out. Tell you what, for a guy that is supposedly a lousy fielder, Brett Anderson's done a pretty good job out there.
He hasn't really been tested much. A couple of one-hoppers right back to the mound. Had to move off the mound one time, a couple of steps to field the ball. You really need to make him move, be athletic. That's when he has trouble.
Well, this just into our newsroom here, BB. Up to the minute. Ender INCIARTE right now at 302. As of this moment, that ranks him top 10 in the league. So there's another Diamondback in the top 10 in hitting in the National League. There's strike one. That'll stay in fair territory. Gonzalez has no play. And he is out. Hunter Wendelstedt, the crew chief and first base umpire, signaled immediately that INCIARTE was out of the baseline. Here's Chip Hale. No hesitation at all from the crew chief at first. Here's Hunter Wendelstedt.
He did go outside the retaining box, but you're allowed to do that. Guys do that all the time when they round the base at first. Perhaps the determining factor is to avoid the tag. Yeah, Aaron Hill doing a wise thing right now. He's down there trying to get Ender INCIARTE out of the conversation and leave it up to the manager.
That is not subject to review. Bob Davidson will take a break and head to the bottom of the fourth in a 2-2 ball game. First base umpire Hunter Wendelstedt.
Yeah, the rule says more than 3 feet out of the baseline to avoid a tag. Now the question is that the baseline that he's running on right now or that baseline? He wasn't 3 feet away from the further foul line. I mean, he was definitely across the line right there, but I mean, that's about a foot outside. Leg comes down, hand is inside the running lane, but
you know, Gonzalez just does not move all that well. If Ender runs straight on that second outside line, he might avoid the tag anyway. Very close down there. Judgment call by the umpire. Jock Peterson leads off the LA fourth in a 2-2 ball game. There's a strike. Peterson popped up to Goldie his first time. Shift is on again for the Diamondbacks. Brandon Drury. This is a one time where it's an advantage to have Brandon Drury. You see him out there standing next to second base umpire Marvin Hudson. Brandon has played a lot of second base in the minor leagues this year.
And has enough arm to play third, so you know he can go up the middle of the field even farther to make a backhanded play and probably still have a play at first on Jock Peterson.
So that is certainly not unfamiliar ground out there for the rookie. 1-2.
First at bat of the ball game, Jock Peterson popped one up to the right side of the infield. Paul Goldschmidt made the catch, but just compare the difference between this effort and what we saw from Chris Owings in San Francisco. Similar pop up right side of the field. CO was standing on second base when the ball came down. Peterson barely made it to first.
Right back at you. Yeah, Peterson has really slumped. He lost his starting center field job for a while. He went through a 5 for 60. That began right after the All-Star break, and he's kind of been wearing it here. The body language has not been great.
Tough game.
5 in a row now set down by Chassin, who's starting to find some rhythm out there. And a throw strike one to the pitcher Anderson, who singled in his first at bat.
I still say if Anderson would put on about 40 more pounds, he'd look just like Adam Dunn.
If he strikes out here, he'll look like Adam Dunn. There you go. 3 strikeouts for Jhoulys Chacín. 2 down in the fourth.
Outfielder CRAWFORD.
Adam Dunn was a big home run hitter. I don't think he's got that kind of power.
Not many people did have the kind of home run power that Adam Dunn did in his heyday.
Carl Crawford 1 for 2. Singled in his last at bat. And how about that play by Aaron Hill, who recovers and throws it out. Aaron Hill at second. A terrific play by the Diamondbacks second baseman. Yolis Chacin, his second straight 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 7 in a row. We are all tied in LA.
Dugout. You might recall, it seems like a lifetime ago, but on the road in Cincinnati, in game 1 of that series there, INCIARTE was called out on that appeal on the check swing. First batter of the game. He went 0 for the night. He admitted a couple of nights later that he internalized that all night long. He wouldn't let it go. His teammates tried to talk to him. The coaching staff tried to talk to him. And a couple of nights later, he finally found his game back. He had that big night. But it was interesting to hear him say afterwards that he really let it bother him. So let's see if he's figured out a little something about letting it go.
You know, I talked to Ender about just that very thing, and I think he's come a long way. Aaron Hill hits that one a long way. Way back and way out of here. Aaron Hill is 6th of the year, and it's 3-2 Diamondbacks. Leadoff homers against Brett Anderson now in back-to-back innings.
Boy, nice swing that time by Aaron Hill. Really weighted back on that breaking ball and absolutely clobbered it to left field.
That was smashed. That had a Goldie sound to it.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, just waited for that breaking ball to get over the heart of the plate. Full extension at the point of contact. No doubt homer to left.
This one is headed toward the right field corner. ETHIER won't get it. He'll play it off the wall. And A.J. Pollock. Diamondbacks on the attack here. A.J., who had an RBI in his last at bat, has his 36th double. So back-to-back innings, a home run and a double to open it up for the Diamondbacks. Tomás and Drury in the 4th. Hill and Pollock in the 5th. That one had a chance to get out of here, just hook inside that foul pole in the right field corner. But he banged it off the wall. Goldie now. He walked his last time up. And he drives it to right center. A.J. had to hold up. Andy Green will stop him at third. 3 straight hits for the D-backs to open up the 5th against Brett Anderson.
3 loud hits.
Yeah, you're right.
Probably would have been an RBI, but Goldie hit it so hard, A.J. wasn't sure if it was going to get down in front of Jock Peterson out there in right center, so he had to hold up momentarily. That took away any chance of possibly scoring, and then a sloppy throw back into the infield got away momentarily. Goldie had thoughts about trying to go to second.
D-backs have scored a run in each of the last 3 innings. They now have out-hit the Dodgers 9-6. Bullpen will get busy for L.A. 4 of the last 8 hitters with first pitch hits. They are out there attacking Brett Anderson. GRANDAL will go out there to slow things down. Here comes Rick Honeycutt. With Anderson now at 60 pitches.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
D-backs were down 2-0 after 1 inning. But they have chipped away here. They had 2 on 2 outs and stranded 2 in the second. They got 1 in the third on an INCIARTE double, a Pollock sac fly. 1 in the fourth on a TOMÁS homer. Drury doubled after that. He was stranded at third. And now they open up the fifth. Homer, double, single. Here is Beef Wellington.
I love that conversation. Aaron Hill was talking to Yolis Chacin on the bench, explaining his thought process at the plate. You saw him raise his hand up. You know, first at bat, I got a fastball up here. I'm thinking he's going to try to start me with a breaking ball. And I love those conversations when good hitters come back to the bench and talk about their at bat. This was the conversation. Not sure if, Chacin did ask him about it, and Aaron Hill said, slider, there's a little hanging slider there. First time he elevated a fastball. That time he tried to start me with a breaking ball, and I was ready for it. And I hit it out of here.
He sure did. His 6th of the year. Castillo bangs it into left center. This will score AJ. Goldie stops at second. 4-2 D-backs. 4 straight hits to open up the Diamondback 5th.
Wow. A stunned buzz here at Dodger Stadium, wondering what in the world is going on. Well, turnabout is fair play. This is what the Dodgers offense did to Yolis Chacin in that first inning. Diamondbacks turning them loose. 6 pitches to 4 hitters, a homer, a double, and 2 singles.
Only 6 pitches in the inning, 4 base hits. Unbelievable. I guess that number 3 postseason starter thing is back up for debate now.
Still up in the air.
Might not want to book that one just yet. Tomás homered his last time up. The home run for YASMANI, his 9th of the year, his 4th since the All-Star break. He's hitting about .220 in the second half of the year. Bounces the 2-0 to Gonzalez. They'll get the force on Wellington, and they can't turn 2. Tomás beats it out.
Always a slow developing double play when you have to wait for that pitcher to get over there and cover first base. Corey Seager kind of throws a change up from the shortstop position, trying to lead Brett Anderson to the bag, but Tomás gets there just ahead.
Don Mattingly's making sure. Nope, go ahead, no challenge. And here's the rookie, Brandon Drury, so far 2 for 2, a single, a double. 1 down, Goldie at third, Tomás at first. And 2 runs in. There's a strike, 0-1. Brandon 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts in his start Friday against Madison Bumgarner. And there tonight against another lefty, Brett Anderson, and he's 2 for 2. Pedro Baez warming up at the LA bullpen. Utley at third. They get one, and Drury beats it out. Goldie scores. Nice hustle by the rookie to get up that first base line. 5-2 D-backs. It happened again.
It did, and I don't mind. I'll make up for it. Tacos for everybody.
Shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
And that is going to be it for Brett Anderson. Well, this game started out as one-sided as you can get. Dodgers got 2 in the first. They had the bases loaded in the second. But since then, it's been all Diamondbacks. They lead at 5-2. Back from L.A. after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Not pitching for the Dodgers.
Effort, and Brandon Drury busting it up that line brings in a run.
Yeah, I mean, he runs that way all the time, but he knows if he beats that relay to first base, he's going to get an RBI. The team's going to get another run on the board, and that lady's going to have a headache.
Diamondbacks have a 5-2 lead. New pitcher for the Dodgers. Here in the 5th inning, it's the hard-throwing right-hander Pedro Baez. 54 strikeouts in 45 innings.
Talk about making an adjustment, partner. Sorry to interrupt there, but you know, Diamondbacks had some hits in the early part of the ball game, but man, in that 4th and 5th inning, they just came out with a vengeance against the Dodger left-hander.
And the other part of that is Yolis Chacin, who gave up 2 in the first, had the bases loaded in the second, got out of it, but ever since then he has really settled in. He's retired 7 straight, and in the meantime, the Diamondbacks have chased Brett Anderson from the ball game. Must be all that left-hand batting practice.
Must be.
Nick Ahmed.
How about this, partner? 12 consecutive Diamondbacks have seen 3 pitches or fewer in their at-bat. 11 of those 12, 2 or fewer. Talk about being aggressive.
I know they had a hitters meeting today. That must have been topic A. Nick has singled and grounded out, 1 for 2. And you know Turner Ward is loving this, the hitting coach. Goldie all smiles. Two 2-0. Ron Mattingly, everybody talking here about magic number. Magic number is 7 with 14 to play. Giants off tonight. D-backs looking for their first win in this ballpark this season. Up and in, misses at 99.
As far as the magic number and postseason baseball and all that good stuff, also on this day in Major League Baseball history, the '64 Phillies lost a 1-0 ball game. Now they had a 6.5 game lead with 12 to go and blew it. And it all started today. Chico Ruiz stole home plate for a Cincinnati Reds 1-0 victory, and that was the beginning of the end for the '64 Phillies.
Somebody topped that. Didn't some team recently, as Ahmed Walks, top that the last few years? It seems like they did. Maybe the Mets. Sure. I don't know.
I just saw it on my This Day in Baseball history page.
Baez comes in trying to put out the fire. Walks the number 8 hitter.
You know what the Dodgers have done this year? They've taken care of the teams that they should beat. I mentioned it in the open of the show. 11 wins against the Diamondbacks, 11 against the Rockies, 11 against the Padres. They played 6 and 9 against the Giants. As a matter of fact, if you look at the potential postseason teams, they only have a winning record against the Cubs, 4 and 3.
Well, they've not had great postseason success. They've had infinite amount of troubles with the Cardinals in recent years.
Yep. I mean, they've gone 3 and 4 against the Mets this year, 1 and 5 against the Pirates, 2 and 5 against the Cardinals. You go over to the American League and Interleague play, they got swept 3 games by Houston, and the Rangers were 1 and 3 against the Rangers.
Well, they're a team with a lot of postseason questions. We've talked about who starts a game 3 for them. That's still up in the air. We've seen how Brett Anderson, despite a pretty solid year, has struggled here tonight. They've had to give him extra rest down the final month of the season. He hasn't pitched this many innings since he was a rookie in '09. The scene waves at a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Aaron Hill got it started with a solo homer to lead off the 5th. And the Diamondbacks followed up a 3-run Arizona inning, and they lead it 5-2. Diamondbacks moving all over the bases here. They lead it now 5-2. They've out-hit the Dodgers 10-6, and this is critical, Bob. This is something Tony La Russa talks about all the time, the shutdown inning, and the idea that once you take the lead and get a crooked number in the half of the inning that belongs to you, the other guy, your pitcher, has to go out there and shut down the other team, make that lead stand. And so that's the charge for Yolis Chacin here in the LA 5th as Chase Utley leads it off. Are you a believer in the shutdown inning?
I'm a believer in momentum in the game of baseball, and certainly the shutdown inning is a way to take the momentum away from the other team or keep it away from the other team.
That looked like the O-Dog in there with Tony having a Dodger dog.
Yeah, O-Dog was down on the field earlier today in uniform, working out with the guys. Shaking hands.
I bet he was talking.
No.
Just a hunch. Utley 0 for 2. And again, the D-backs go into the overshift on the right-hand side against the left-hand hitting Utley. Don Mattingly has loaded up his lineup with left-hand hitters against Jhoulys Chacín. There's a strike on 3-0.
Utley will rarely swing at a 3-0 pitch unless he has runners in scoring position. Takes a fastball right down the middle of the plate there at 89.
Full count. Utley, Gonzalez, Kendrick, 2, 3, and 4 in the Dodger fifth. There's Orlando Hudson talking.
We saw O-Dog earlier this year in Atlanta, I believe it was. Had his sons out on the field.
Oh, yeah,
you're right. Awards kids.
And he was a instructor for a good portion of spring training, Orlando Hudson, this year. Down there in uniform for a lot of the spring training games. Three and 2 on Utley. Well, if he wants the shutdown inning here, he's going to have to work for it against Utley, Gonzalez, and Kendrick. ETHIER behind him. Well, that's not the way to go about it, a leadoff walk. Second walk issued by Jhoulys Chacín.
First baseman, ADRIAN.
That's where you'd like to think that Chacín's experience will come in. You know, sometimes a young pitcher, after his team has spotted him to a lead in the ball game, will go out there and try to be a little bit too fine, try to pitch away from contact and get himself in trouble. But Chacín's been through these wars before. He knows that he's a ground ball away from clearing the bases if he can get him to hit one of his defenders behind him.
Bullpen will get busy for the Diamondbacks. Gonzalez is homered and walked tonight. Missed away. This was Gonzalez. First pitch he saw, his first at bat tonight, a hanger, and he took it out to straightaway center.
I'm sure the Dodgers had a similar game plan against Chacín as the Diamondbacks did against Brett Anderson. See it up. If you see something up in the zone, be ready to attack it. And happened to be the first pitch Gonzalez saw tonight.
Chacín gets a strike call there. He's ahead 1-2. Andrew Chafin will start throwing in the Diamondback bullpen with this Dodger lineup loaded with lefties.
He's pounding away at that outside corner at the knees with sinkers, sliders.
Shift is still on defensively. Did he go? No, he did not. David Rackley at third. 2-2 is hit into the shift. Aaron Hill, Ahmed at second, and they roll the double play. Jhoulys Chacín, there you go. Gonzalez hit right into the shift, and the Diamondbacks turn a somewhat unconventional 4-6-3.
Yeah, the numbers in the scorebook would say that's a routine 4-6-3 double play, but not with the pull shift on. Nick Ahmed did a nice job of getting over there to second base and giving Aaron a nice target. But there, doing Gonzalez running out of the batter's box, he had plenty of time to turn that one, so Nick made sure to make a good throw.
And that's from that position and that angle, a little bit of a longer throw that I'm sure any second baseman would be used to. 2 down for Kendrick, who has singled and flied out. Brandon Drury. Jhoulys Chacín has the ground ball work and erases that leadoff walk and gets the shutdown inning. It's 5-2 D-backs. FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and all the history. It begins October 8th on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We go to the 6th inning in Los Angeles. Diamondbacks lead the Dodgers 5-2. LA had a 2-0 lead after one. The Diamondbacks have stormed back.
We're talking about postseason baseball. The Blue Jays landed the first punch in that big series against the Yankees this weekend.
Good.
Yep, good.
It's going to be fun to see Toronto. Hopefully they get Tulo back for the postseason, but boy, they're excited in Toronto about their baseball team. Ender leads off the 6th.
You know who else has been slugging homers for the Blue Jays? Former D-back Cliff Pennington.
No, I saw that.
Yeah, he's hit a couple of home runs recently for the Blue Jays.
It's a valuable guy on your bench. Ender doubled and scored in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. I have more breaking news from our newsroom. After the Wendelstadt call at first, where it was ruled Ender was out of the baseline, he has dropped back to 11th. Just outside the top 10 in hitting in the National League. Aaron has a lot of free time on his hands over here. It's always interesting when you come into LA, and you know, the Emmys were here last night.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite shows, Veep, cleaned up. So all the staffers here, a lot of these guys worked the Emmys last night. They're a little tired, a little punchy.
Went to some of the after parties, I'm sure. Snuck in the back door.
Oh yeah,
knowing these guys.
Yeah, all the stories. With those troublesome Hollywood types. Persnickety. On the ground is shortstop. Seager. One down.
I'll tell you, it's hard not to like the Dodgers shortstop. A lot of the things he does defensively kind of remind you a little bit of Nick Ahmed. Just very calm, cool, and collected. He never appears to be under any kind of pressure or in any rush to get rid of the ball. Same approach he has at the plate.
Well, of course, he's comes from a good pedigree. His older brother Kyle is the all-star third baseman for the Seattle Mariners. Won a Gold Glove last year. Of course, his dad is Bob Seager. Wait, what? No.
Turn the page.
Oh, yeah, sure. Aaron Hill homered his last time up. He's 2 for 3, doubled in the first, so a good night here for Aaron. Did Pete, the camera guy, win anything? Did he win an Emmy? Pete did not, I'm told, win an Emmy.
Oh, no. I'm never watching again.
He was working. He couldn't win an award. Check swing a roller, foul. This was Aaron Hill to lead off the fifth.
Boy, and it really seemed to jumpstart the entire Diamondbacks dugout over there.
Yeah, the first 4 D-backs had base hits in that fifth against Brett Anderson, and they chased him from the ball game. They have out hit the Dodgers 10-6. They lead it 5-2. Pete, of course, was famously on an episode of Entourage. A slow roller to Seager at shortstop.
Well, the observant Diamondbacks fans out there, I'm sure, saw it during Aaron's last at bat as he hit that home run into the left field bleachers after making a diving stop at second base. Well, he's had that strawberry on his elbow since March. And it almost was completely healed since he hasn't been playing so much lately. And one diving play defensively is all it took to bust it open. Now he'll take it into the offseason with him.
2 down for A.J. Pollock. Jumps on the first one. That's by Seager and into left center. A.J. Pollock hustling into second, and he is in there. Back-to-back doubles for A.J. That's number 37 on the year. He doubled and scored in his previous at-bat. Close play at second. But Marvin Hudson says safe.
Number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm not so sure Howie Kendrick touched A.J. Pollock. It's a tough play for a second baseman because, look, you have your back turned to the runner. So you just try to make the catch and get that tag down in front of the bag as quickly as you can. I don't think he came close before A.J. got on the bag.
Ron Mattingly on the top step of the dugout. Bob Davidson waiting behind the plate. They are told to give the managers as much time as they want, and there will be no challenge. 5 first pitch hits tonight for the Diamondbacks. A single, 3 doubles, and a homer. They have been very aggressive. So AJ, who had an RBI sac fly in the third, has doubles in back-to-back innings. He's at second with 2 outs for Goldie, who singled and scored his last time up. And with first base open, they'll work to Wellington Castillo. And you can't blame Don Mattingly with first base open for not messing with Goldie. He has torn up this ballpark in his career, including tonight. He is 12 for 26 at Dodger Stadium this year with 2 homers. And his career mark in this ballpark is over 350.
This has never, ever been known as a good hitter's park. Now, we talked about it earlier this season. Because of the drought in California, the ball seems to be carrying much better at night than it ever did here at Dodger Stadium. But the mound always seems a little bit higher than it is at other ballparks. The hitting background is not great with the Death Star out there in the background and the fans on either side of the batter's eye in center field. But it doesn't bother Goldie a bit.
Wellington Castillo.
So 2 on and 2 out for Castillo, who had an RBI single his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Goldie's second walk tonight. Diamondbacks again have had runners in scoring position in every inning in this ball game. Bob Davidson at home says he went. Hey fans, now is the time. Tweet us your fan photo with the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. You might see your picture on Diamondback broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. One and one. Hey, maybe we ought to do one of them waves. Good pitch there by Baez. Two and one. Play on at second. Now, A.J. Pollock's got a chance here to finish as a 40-40 guy. 40 doubles, 40 steals. He's at second, Goldie at first, 2 outs. 2-1 on Beef Wellington. .99, Baez can bring it. Pedro Baez. He's averaging almost 11 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. Two and two. That one sailed. And Castillo hit the deck. AJ's in at third. Goldie at second. And as hard as Baez throws, that's a little too wild for comfort.
Too wild for his catcher. You see, Grandal moves out onto the outside corner. That ball's over the head of Wellington Castillo all the way to the backstop.
Coming in at 99 like that can't be a good feeling. So it's 3 and 2. Second and third, 2 outs. Popped it up. Right side, Gonzalez in fair territory. Diamondbacks threaten, but they strand 2. Bottom 6 coming up. They lead the Dodgers 5-2.
Roger, dog.
4 days to do it. We're going to play the best we can with the best players we can to defeat them. So, you know, always never like to see a team celebrate on a field. You know, that's kind of one of those things in September. If you're not in it, that's one of the things you hate to see. So we're going to try to hold it off.
Chip Hale earlier today, and guys going into the room yesterday in San Francisco after the loss when they were officially eliminated. It was, I thought, very interesting to hear Chip talk about when he thought the wheels came off the season coming back from that trip from Cincinnati when he was still in the conversation. But I just love what he said to the team before San Francisco. Play hard. Just play hard. Do what you've been doing all year. Here's the speech. I've been giving it to you. And to a man, I talked to a number of guys today about just that. And that's their focus in that room. I think we've seen that by this comeback here at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that's for sure. This was a very one-sided game through 2 innings. Dodgers got 2 in the first, had the bases loaded in the second. Ever since then, it's been all Diamondbacks, and Yolis Chacin has really, Bob, done a very good job of settling down. He was hanging by a thread there for a while early.
It did look like he was going to get out of the first inning of this ball game, but has really settled in nicely. He has issued a couple of walks, one to Chase Utley leading off last inning, got a double play ball to erase him. Also walked Adrian Gonzalez, but that was kind of a pitcher round situation. Didn't really want to mess with Adrian after he hit the home run in his first at bat.
Chacin gave up 2 runs on 4 hits in the first, but he has not allowed a base hit since there was 1 out in the second inning. And he's up against Andre Ethier to lead off the LA sixth. Ethier, Seager, and Grandal 5, 6, and 7. Chip Hale looking for something to change the mojo against Don Mattingly's boys in blue. Diamondbacks 4-11 versus the Dodgers this year. 0-6 at Dodger Stadium. That is a foul ball. And we'll be here for 4. Take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Diamondback Live pregame show tomorrow at 6:30, starring Lightning Todd Walsh. And it's a matchup of left-handers. Robbie Ray for the Diamondbacks and Alex Wood, the former Atlanta Brave, for LA. And it's Chase Anderson, Zach Greinke Wednesday. Thursday afternoon, a day game, a 12:10 first pitch. Don't miss that one. Corbin and Kershaw. 2-2.
That's such a difference from one side of the field to the other. The Diamondbacks getting a look at some of their young players and pitchers with an eye toward next season. The Dodgers getting a look at some of their guys with an eye toward that postseason roster. You mentioned Brett Anderson kind of auditioning possibly for that number 3 starter spot. Alex Wood will be doing the same thing tomorrow.
Now you'd have to think that if it wasn't Anderson, it would be Alex Wood, based on the way they pitched. Ethier's run the count full now, 3-2. Well, Chacin had a leadoff walk in the 5th. He was up there against Utley. Got a double play ball and another ground out to end the inning. And it's a leadoff walk once again to open up the 6th. His 3rd base on balls tonight. Andrew Chafin was throwing earlier. He'll start throwing again with Don Mattingly having loaded up his lineup with left-hand hitters. And here's another one, Corey Seager. An RBI double in the 1st. He's 1 for 2.
Been a good pitch for Yolis tonight, that backdoor slider. We've seen worse pitches called strikes.
2-1. Toward the left field corner, YASMANI TOMÁS runs it down in foul territory. Just a sliver of foul ground out there in that corner. And that's the first out in the 6th.
YASMANI had to cover a lot of ground. Quick peek to see how close he was getting to the side wall out there. Just enough room in foul territory to reach up and make that catch, and then he bangs into the wall. Quickly gets the ball back in to make sure ETHIER had no thoughts about going back to tag up.
We'll see if Chacin can get a quick ground ball here. Shift is on against the catcher YASMANI GRANDAL. Diamondbacks have already turned one double play with this defensive alignment. Brandon Drury, the third baseman, playing right near the second base bag, and Aaron Hill with his heels on the grass at second. Pitch number 90 from Jhoulys Chacin on the way. He was really on the ropes. 2 runs, 4 hits in the first, had bases loaded in the second. Ever since then, he's been tremendous. This is there. And he's behind on Grandal, 3-0.
Now, pitch count has never been a big issue for Chacin. Hasn't gone over 100 in the major leagues this year, but he threw 128 pitches in 7 2/3 pitching for Reno just before his call up. So that pitch count is no big deal to him.
Good location on that last pitch. 3-1 now. And he lost him. Second walk in the inning, 4th in the ball game. And Andrew Chafin is ready. You've got Jock Peterson, the left-hand hitter, coming up. He would be the tying run at the plate with 1 out. And so Chip Hale will make the move. Chafin coming in to face the rookie Peterson back from LA after this. Brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Back in Los Angeles, Diamondbacks trying to hang on to a 5-2 lead. Chip Hale goes to his bullpen for the left-hand throwing Andrew Chafin. And Don Mattingly has countered. He's called back Jock Peterson. And the right-hand hitting Scott Van Slyke will take the at-bat with 2 on and 1 out here in the 6th.
This is one of my favorite pitching changes that the Diamondbacks do. They take out Chacin, bring in Chafin.
All you need is an F.
Yeah, just change that middle letter.
Maestro, give me an F. So here you go. You got ETHIER at second, Grandal at first, 1 out. After a couple of walks in the inning by Jhoulys Chacin. Van Slyke, 248. He's got 6 homers. And he homered in their loss to the Pirates here yesterday. 2 for his last 16. He's been battling a sore hand. Well, that front foot comes way up. That big, long, loopy swing at 6'5". But when he connects, it will fly. Just ask Wade Miley.
Yeah. A lot of moving parts, long arms, long legs, long swing at times.
Van Slyke as a pinch hitter this year, 5 for 16. Pitcher spot is up next. Justin Ruggiano is in the on-deck circle. Another power hitting right-hander. That misses. It's 2 balls and a strike. David Hernandez throwing for the Diamondbacks. Dodger bullpen is busy as well. Jim Johnson throwing for LA. Headed for the seats and out of play. It's 2-2. Here's the veteran right-hander Johnson. For that one, it's full. Dodgers have not had a base hit since there was 1 out in the 2nd inning. 3-2 pitch. Full count to Van Slyke. He's already walked 5 times as a pinch hitter this year.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up.
I think Andrew Chafin always has a slightly elevated heartbeat, but you can almost see his pulse in his throat there as he's getting the signs from Wellington Castillo. Ka-thump, ka-thump.
Good spot. Got him. Ka-thump that. Andrew Chafin wins the battle. 2 outs.
Goes up the ladder, fastball up there near the red numbers on the front of that Dodger jersey. Blew it right by Van Slyke.
Well, they've got Hernandez warming up at the bullpen. Ruggiano has been announced as the pinch hitter, and Chip Hale will go to his bullpen once again. Chafin gets a big out, and they'll look to David Hernandez to get one more. Back in a moment. Baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Phoenix International Raceway. Join PIR on November 15th for NASCAR. Visit us. Dodger Stadium, the machinations continue with the expanded rosters here in September. Justin Ruggiano, the right-hand hitter, announced as the pinch hitter for the pitcher's spot. David Hernandez comes in out of the Diamondback bullpen. And Don Mattingly recalls Ruggiano, and he'll send the rookie up there, Scott Schebler, who bats from the left-hand side to face Hernandez.
September baseball. I mean, that's a big burn right there. Ruggiano's a very dangerous right-handed hitter. He's done some damage this year to the point where it looks like he will make the postseason roster. We'll see how that works out, but to take him down without even an opportunity to swing the bat in favor of the young Scott Schebler.
Just 12 big league games for Schebler. 280 and 3 home runs. He's got good power. Tying run at the plate, 2 outs in the 6th.
Don Mattingly's now down to only 7 right-handed bats available off the bench.
Wow. Maybe find a pitcher that can hit or something. Oh, a little off-balance hack there from Schebler.
Right at the bottom of the mask.
Can't be, or I should say, it can't feel real good to be a catcher on September 21st. It's been a long 6-7 months of foul balls and swinging bats.
You feel kind of like that used car on the lot that's parked in the back that nobody really even wants to look at anymore. You feel like everything's broken.
Sell it for parts. David humps that one up, 1-2. Oh, beautiful breaking ball right there. He got him to chase. And David Hernandez wasn't sure that was the last out. That's it. You did the job there, David. Nicely done. Diamondbacks wiggle off the hook and strand the 2 walks. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Tomás, who led off the 4th with a homer, will lead off the Diamondbacks 7th. They lead at 5-2. David Hernandez get 2 big strikeouts with 2 on. And they keep it a 5-2 D-back lead as we start the 7th. New pitcher for the Dodgers, the right-hander Jim Johnson, his 69th appearance this year.
Actually went through 4 Dodgers to get those 2 strikeouts if you consider Van Slyke hit for Peterson. Ruggiano was a pinch hitter. Schebler hit for him. Van Slyke stays in the ball game. Will take over for Jock Peterson in center field.
Yasmani Tomás led off the 4th with his 9th home run of the year. And he'll lead off the 7th against Johnson. Van Slyke stays in the game, takes over in center.
Where he's had 2 innings of experience this season.
Does it say that there anywhere? How about one more? Yasmani didn't get quite enough of it, though. Crawford just shy of the warning track. And it's allowed out number 1.
Didn't miss it by much. Got a hanger up in his eyes that time. Big breaking ball from Jim Johnson that stayed up.
It's been a great night for Brandon Drury, the rookie, who got the start at third base. Singled in the 2nd, doubled in the 4th, an RBI fielder's choice in the 5th. Two and 0.
.96 mile-an-hour sinker. Look at the late movement on that ball. off the plate away. And dive bombed almost back to the middle of the plate.
Shallow center, Van Slyke. Hey fans, the most popular way to follow the action of the Arizona Diamondbacks is with MLB.com at Bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. You'll enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, StatCast, scores, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at Bat app right now. Wait till the end of this half inning. Nick Ahmed. Single and walk for Nick. 1 for 2. Nick getting over 300 in September. He's got 9 extra base hits this month. By a diving Utley and through a diving Seager. It rolls in a left, a 2-out single for Ahmed. He's aboard for the 3rd time tonight. And the pitcher spot is next, and here's David Peralta.
Perfectly placed ground ball that time, with Utley drawn in a little bit at third base. Didn't have much range to his left, and Seager can't get there with a dive.
Well, you were talking, Bob, earlier in the ballgame about all the left-hand hitting weapons on Chip Hale's bench, and here's the first one. Pretty good guy to have coming off your bench. 8th in the National League in hitting. It's David Peralta. 16 home runs. He homered yesterday in San Francisco. And how about that? Peralta 364 since the All-Star break. That's 2nd best in the National League, behind only Joey Votto. You mentioned how this was a very one-sided start to the ball game. The Dodgers got 2 in the first, had the bases loaded in the second. Diamondbacks have had 9 base hits since the Dodgers last hit. They have out-hit LA 12-6. That one is over the glove of Seager and into left center. Ahmed will hustle into third, and he is in there. Nick, a little stutter step coming around that bag. Van Slyke was slow to pick it up in left center, and Ahmed stole an extra 90 feet.
A little bit lucky that time too, as David takes the sinker out over the plate and lines it over the head of Corey Seager at shortstop. Van Slyke has a real strong, accurate throwing arm, and fortunately for Nick, this one hits him in the back as he goes into his head-first slide at third base. Now, if that ball gets by, Dodgers probably get that out at third, but as it is, they have him on the corners here for Ender Inciarte.
Ahmed at third, Peralta at first, and Ender, who doubled and scored in the third, steps up. He's 1 for 4. Ender 4th in the National League in hits since the All-Star break. Batting .315 in the second half of the year. Oh, 2. Matt Reynolds warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. It's got lefties Crawford, Utley, and Gonzalez top of the order, leading off the Dodgers 7th. Cannot get together, and now Johnson wants to talk. He's waving GRANDAL out. GRANDAL didn't see him, and now he'll go out there. You were saying the other day about pitchers speeding up the pace of play, or in this case, slowing it down.
Yeah, and there's nobody on second base. It's not like you have to give a sequence of signs. It's a 1 or a 2 or a changeup. Let's go.
Johnson's been out there this year about 70 times. It's not his first day. He's ahead of INCIARTE, 0-2. 2 on, 2 out. There goes Peralta. There is no throw from GRANDAL, and David is in at second, standing up.
Now he will have to go through a series of signs, and you would assume this late in the season that everybody is on the same page and there shouldn't be any mix-ups, but if I was Yasmani Grandal, I'd be ready to goalie up right here. I'm not so sure Jim Johnson knows what's coming himself.
Ender gets it in the air, right field. ETHIER at the warning track, and he has room. Johnson strands 2. 7th inning stretch in LA. It's 5-2 Diamondbacks. Chase Field. It starts next Tuesday. The D-backs take on the Rockies, followed by a 3-game series against the Houston Astros, who are fighting for their postseason lives in the American League. That'll be a big series. Get your tickets online right now at dbacks.com. And a chance to see Carlos Correa, George Springer of the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve, and what will be a critical series for Houston.
Houston 6-3 winners over the Angels tonight.
Well, you got 3 lefties here to lead off the 7th. So here's Matt Reynolds. It'll be Crawford, Utley, Gonzalez 1, 2, and 3 in the LA 7th. David Peralta stays in the ball game. He takes over in left field for YASMANI TOMÁS. And he will bat 9th. Pitcher spot now 6th in the Diamondback order. Reynolds quickly ahead of Crawford. 0-2. Carl Crawford a single in the second. He's 1 for 3. D-backs bullpen busy. Zach Godley, the right-hander. Jeff Bale told us we would occasionally see Zach work out of the bullpen after his final start this year. 0-2 on Crawford. Reaches out and rolls it foul one more time. Crawford went down with a torn right oblique at the end of April, missed 75 games. Didn't get back in the lineup until just after the All-Star break. Emergency hack.
Yeah. Just trying to get a piece of that breaking ball down low and away. Helmet flew off.
Got him. Crawford strikes out. Good start for Matt Reynolds. One down in the 7th.
Crawford right on top of that plate.
Boy, the last 3 D-backs relievers, Bob, have come in and gotten 3 strikeouts.
Love it. Love it.
Chafin got Van Slyke. Hernandez got Schebler. And now Reynolds gets Crawford. Here's Utley. Walked his last time up 0 for 2.
A little bit more of a challenge. Chase Utley 4 for 5 lifetime with a homer against Matt Reynolds. So hit him in the back. There you go. No intent right there. Just a breaking ball that slipped out of Matty's hand. Probably didn't even put a wrinkle in the uniform.
Utley just kind of turtled on that one. So a chance for Gonzalez now. He has homered, walked, and hit into a double play. The home run is 28th of the year, a solo shot to dead center in the first off Yolis Chacin. Shift is on for the D-backs, and there's ball 1.
Get that breaking ball down. He hit Utley in the middle of the back with one, left that one up out of the strike zone to Adrian Gonzalez. That's not where you want to throw off-speed pitches.
That was the 179th time Chase Utley has been hit by a pitch. He leads all active players. Swings right through that one, 1-1. Gonzalez's homer in the first extended his hitting streak. He's hit safely in 7 straight. A ball and 2 strikes.
After leaving that breaking ball up, first pitch of the sequence, back-to-back fastballs. Jumps ahead in the count, 1-2.
Another emergency hack on that breaking ball. Gonzalez does hit lefties. 301 against left-hand pitching this year. He's homered off left-handers 4 times this season. This does get a piece of that one. Two and two.
I like what I saw right there from Wellington Castillo. He had Matt Reynolds shake his head 2 or 3 times before delivering the pitch. Good veteran hitters like Adrian Gonzalez who try to think along with the opposing pitcher and catcher, and you see them take a few swings where it looks like they're right on something. I always like to create a little confusion. Just have a head shake or two.
Jam shot, shallow left center, long run, and there is A.J. Pollock to track it down. Boy, he really had to come in a long way to get that one. A big out number 2 right there.
Naturally playing deep, respecting the power of Adrian Gonzalez. Had a long run to catch up to this one. Well, apparently some good communication out there. You saw first Nick Ahmed give way, then David Peralta gives way, and AJ makes the running catch.
Well, you've got the right hand hitting Howie Kendrick coming up. They've had Zach Godley warming up in the bullpen. Mike Harkey onto the mound now. And Reynolds with Chase Utley at first and 2 outs. Kendrick singled and scored in the first. He's 1 for 3. Chip Hale going to stick with his left-hander here. Kendrick just came back Saturday after missing 35 games with a left hamstring strain. He had had only 5 at-bats since returning from the DL going into the ball game tonight. Ball 1. This guy has killed the D-backs this year. Dozen games against Arizona. He's hit over 360.
And a lot of his hits in those 12 games have come to the opposite field.
Hit one in the right center field gap in the first. 10 RBIs in 12 games this year versus the D-backs. Check swing, 1-2. Tell you what, if they can get through this, this is going to be a gold star night for the Diamondback bullpen. They have gotten some big outs. Bounce to shortstop. Nick Ahmed, underhand toss to Aaron Hill. The force on Utley, and Matt Reynolds gets the job done. We are through 7. It's 5-2 D-backs. That was the Cox Gig Live High Speed Highlights, our Gila River game summary. Well, the Diamondbacks were down 2-0 after 1 inning, and it has been all Arizona ever since. Yolis Chacin did a nice job settling in. The bullpen has been outstanding. And the Diamondbacks offense has been on the attack. They've out-hit LA 13-6. Homers by Yasmani, Tomás, and Aaron Hill. And the new pitcher to start the 8th inning is the veteran right-hander. With his changeup, it's Joel Peralta. Aaron Hill, A.J. Pollock, and Paul Goldschmidt 2, 3, and 4 in the Diamondback 8th. Aaron has doubled and homered. He's 2 for 4. His home run a no-doubter to lead off the 5th. Fastball away is fouled off. It's a ball and 2 strikes. It's a bullpen ball game. Daniel Hudson. ETHIER, SEAGER, and GRANDAL 5, 6, 7 due up for the Dodgers. Aaron was 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts in his start Friday in San Francisco. Didn't play Saturday or Sunday. And this is just his 2nd start since August 29th after that nagging hamstring injury that has kept him out most of this month. But no rust at all. He's looked very good defensively. He's got a double and a home run. On the ground to third. Utley, his first ever start down there. Throws him out, 1 down. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Aaron Hill off Brett Anderson to lead off the 5th. Saw the reaction from Anderson. He was less than pleased. Left that one up. Big night at the plate for A.J. Pollock. An RBI, 2 doubles. He scored a run. So A.J.'s now hit safely in 10 straight.
What a good idea. Chase Utley was way back at third base.
Haven't tried it yet.
Goes right back to that deep position. He may creep in as Peralta gets ready to deliver the pitch, but he's starting out way behind the bag down there at third.
Utley had never played a single major league inning at third base until his start there tonight. There's a drive high to center field. Van Slyke is there. 2 down for Goldie.
Number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldie has singled and scored. He's been walked twice, once intentionally. Tonight in the cleanup spot for the first time since June of 2013.
And because of the way the lineup is rolled around, Goldie getting his 5th at bat, or 5th plate appearance rather, of the game here in the 8th inning, which he didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
At least not so far, unless the Diamondbacks hit around. He gets another at bat in the 9th, or gets close to an at bat.
Blast that one toward the left field corner. And it's off the pole. A home run for Goldie. That's number 29. And it's 6-2 D-backs. That was a missile.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Put a dent in the foul pole out there.
And he continues just to rake in this ballpark. Goldie in 33 games at Dodger Stadium. Career is now homered 11 times.
It's rare to see Goldie pull a ball right down that left field line, but that's exactly what he does here. bouncing off that foul pole at the 3:30 mark.
Third home run tonight for the D-backs. TOMÁS, Hill, and Goldschmidt. And that's Goldie's third home run in this park this year. Here's Wellington Castillo. So the D-backs tack on one more. It's a 6-2 lead now. They have out-hit LA 14-6. Seager at shortstop. Paul Goldschmidt is 29th of the year. A solo shot off the foul pole in left. Clank. 6-2 Diamondbacks. Six-2 D-backs. Bottom 8 coming up tonight. Brad Sesmat's Football AZ show is back. NFL on Fox's analyst Charles Davis will have a recap from Sunday's Cardinals-Bears game. And U of A's Rich Rodriguez tonight after Diamondback Live postgame show here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Yo, yo, yo.
Word. Andre Ethier, the left-hand hitter, scheduled to lead off this inning for LA. So Matt Reynolds still out there. But Ethier has been recalled, and the veteran Jimmy Rollins, the switch hitter, will take the at-bat. Daniel Hudson had been warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Rollins just 2 plate appearances since September 7th. He's had a sore finger.
Yeah, the real issue for Rollins, we're told, is he's unable to throw consistently. He's okay swinging the bat, but really has some problems defensively, which certainly would seem to endanger his possible postseason roster spot.
It's a sore right index finger. He's had just 2 at-bats in the last 2 weeks. And Matt Reynolds, who did a nice job getting through that 7th, is ahead 1-2. Rollins a switch hitter. He's over 300 from the right-hand side this year. Off the fist, little jam shot pop-up. Goldie's got it. Our State Farm report of the game. Here's a guy who figures to factor into the rotation next year. Former first-round pick out of Marshall. It's Aaron Blair. He's here in the minors this year. One out. Here's Corey Seager. Seager an RBI double in the first. He's 1 for 3. Dodgers have still not had a base hit since there was 1 out in the 2nd inning. Reynolds behind 3-1. Boy, the Dodgers' first 10 batters of the ball game, they had 6 hits. They have not had a base hit since. There's a strike. Hold on there, Court. Full count, 3-2. Giants are off tonight. Dodgers' magic number for clinching is 7 with 14 to play. Davidson not biting back there. It's a 1-out walk.
Well, at third base side of the plate, he's had a lot of problems calling pitches on that corner. We've seen some strikes called balls, some balls called strikes. That one looked like it caught plenty of plate that time.
So Wellington Castillo snatched that glove hand up to get the corner. So Seager's aboard with a 1-out. The switch hitting catcher YASMANI GRANDAL. Drives it to right center field. This is well hit. Pollock at the track, at the wall, and he can't get it. It's gone. YASMANI GRANDAL, a 2-run homer, is 16th, and it's 6-4. YASMANI GRANDAL had homered 15 times this year. All 15 homers came batting left-handed. But from the right-hand side of the plate, he takes Reynolds out of here, and it's a 2-run D-backs lead. Back after this. Diamondback bullpen to face Scott Van Slyke. A long outing there for Matt Reynolds. But the numbers said you want to flip Grandal and make him hit right-handed. He had not hit a right-handed home run since July of 2013. That's when he was a San Diego Padre. It came coincidentally off Wade Miley. But now it's suddenly a 2-run Diamondback lead. Van Slyke struck out against Andrew Chafin back in the 6th and remained in the ball game playing center field. Look at that. Daniel Hudson, glove save and a beauty. A glove save and a beauty.
Wow. Quick reactions by Daniel Hudson that time. That ball came right back where it came from quickly.
Man, wow.
And hitting for the Dodgers, number 7, Alex Guerrero.
Two down now. Pitcher spot is up. Alex Guerrero, the right-hand hitter, comes off the Dodger bench. 229 and 11 home runs. He is 3 for his last 22 at the plate. Those 22 at bats extend over a full month, all the way back to the middle of August. He's not played very much lately. It's that high in the air. Left field. Peralta has room. And we are through 8. D-backs hanging on. They lead at 6-4.
D-back season ticket holder. Choose from full, half, series, or weekend plans. Season ticket holders enjoy unique benefits, access to exclusive events, flexible payment plans, and much, much more. View the 2016 schedule and get tickets online at dbacks.com.
We are in the 9th inning in Los Angeles. Diamondbacks, who have not won in this ballpark this year, lead at 6-4. New pitcher for L.A. The right-hander Juan Nicasio, the former Colorado Rocky, his 50th appearance this year, 3.44 ERA. Pitcher spot is 6th in the Diamondback order after the double switch, and so Chris Owings will take the at-bat. He'll lead off the 9th. Chris Heisey has taken over in center field now. He was just over there in right. And now Van Slyke will move into right field. So Heisey in center, Van Slyke in right. They were 10 seconds ago standing in different spots. Little mix up there.
Dodger baseball.
It's time, you know. So here's CO to lead off the 9th. 237. He's got 4 homers. Oh, 2. That's in the seats. Brad Ziegler had been warming up in the Diamondback bullpen, but no one is throwing right now.
He might be close enough that he's going to wait until there's one out in the inning before he begins throwing in earnest again. Toweling off some sweat out there. You know, sometimes just playing catch in that 8th inning is enough that you feel like, okay, I'm going to wait till there's one out. I'll throw a few more warm-up pitches. I'll be ready to go.
Brad trying to recover emotionally from that Kansas City Chiefs loss the other night. The 2-2 on Chris Owings. Brad is a big Chiefs fan.
I'm with him.
Well hit, and it drops into left field. A base hit for Owings. Leadoff man aboard in the 9th. D-backs now with 15 hits.
Number 62.
Fans, as promised earlier, it's the Data Strong fan photo. Tweet your strongest fan photo with the hashtag AZDataStrongFan on the Twitter with the whole thing, like Will here.
Wow.
Wearing his D-backs gear. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Brandon Drury, a single, a double, and RBI. Brad is ready. You were right. Good to go.
Well, those veteran guys, veteran closers, they know exactly how many pitches they need to throw. They realize that they're going to get 8 more once they get out to the game mound to start the inning. No sense leaving anything down there in the bullpen.
Off the fist, a little looper, right center, and it drops in. Brandon Drury has got his 3rd hit tonight. First 2 have reached in the Diamondback 9th against Juan Nicasio.
Throw it out there any better than that. Jammed in on the hands a little bit. Van Slyke playing deep in right. Gets over the head of Howie Kendrick. Nobody can get there. CO kicking himself a little bit because Van Slyke did overrun that ball ever so slightly, but Chris had already stopped and was going back to second base by the time Van Slyke fanned on that ball. No chance to go on to 3rd.
Maybe screened a bit by Seager there as well. 2 on, nobody out for Nick Ahmed, who has singled twice and walked. Utley kitty corner in at 3rd. Ahmed shows bunt throw to second. Owings wandered way off the bag there and just did scamper back in time. He was almost halfway to 3rd.
Always a dangerous play for the base runner at second base in an obvious bunt situation. You want to get as big a jump as possible to make sure you can advance to 3rd should the ball get bunted on the ground. But if you get out there too far, this is what happens. Fortunately, the throw is way offline. Seager tries the no-look tag out there at second, but CO able to get back safely. I mean, if you think about it, there will almost always be a defender at second base. No matter whether you're running the wheel play or the traditional bunt defense play with runners at first and second, somebody will usually be at second base. If that batter bunts through the ball, that's when you become susceptible to the pickoff.
Don't want to run yourself out of an inning here with a chance to tack on some runs following the Grandal homer. So it's 1-0 on Nick. Corners creeping in for the Dodgers. Pops it up. Utley won't get there.
It has to be tempting for Chip Hale to possibly turn Nick Ahmed loose in this situation, even though a bunt is clearly called for. You'd love another tack-on run or 2. with the Dodgers, with the corner infielders drawn way in. Howie Kendrick is running toward first base. Seager playing up the middle of the field. There's all kinds of holes in that Dodger defense once that ball is delivered.
And after the double switch, you've got Peralta on deck. Owings the runner at second, Drury at first. Gets a bunt down. Nicasio has one play. And Ahmed almost beat it out. Runners move up.
Nicely done by Nick Ahmed, moving those two guys into scoring position for David Peralta. We'll see if he gets a chance to swing the bat here against the righty, or if Don Mattingly has a few more bodies in that bullpen.
I tell you what, Nick had a single in the second, came up in the fourth with a runner on second, nobody out, hit the ball to the right side and moved the runner along. Walked in the fifth, singled in the seventh, and a sacrifice bunt in the ninth here. A tremendous night at the plate for Nick Ahmed. Hey, it's another pitching change. That means it's another commercial. To add to it here with 1 out and 2 on. The LA Moon here on a Monday night. First of 4 at Dodger Stadium to close out the season series with LA. Diamondback trying to win here for the first time all year. The left-hander Ian Thomas is in. He has stranded all 6 inherited runners this year. And he comes in with 1 out and runners on second and third. D-backs were down 2-0 after 1 inning here. It was a rough start for Yolis Chacin, who settled down nicely. And while he got into cruise control there for a while, the Diamondback offense went nuts. 16 hits and 6 runs so far, 3 homers. Tomás, Hill, and Goldie. And now here's Peralta, second and third, 1 out. David has hit .250 this year against left-hand pitching. That's a big improvement from last season when he was under .200. Infield is in for the Dodgers. And they have 3 infielders on the right-hand side. Duck and cover David. They overshift and bring the infield in. And to say there's a hole in the shortstop area would be a pretty big understatement. Utley all by himself over there on the left-hand side near the third base bag. Owings at third, Drury at second. David really not seeing the ball too well against Ian Thomas.
Going out of the zone, or at least away from pitches that he likes to hit. Ball up and out over the plate, let her high.
Peralta homered yesterday in San Francisco. He was 5 for 9 in that weekend series at AT&T Park. 1 for 1 so far tonight. This was Peralta yesterday in San Francisco, his 16th of the year. So he has already doubled his home run and RBI totals from last season.
Just need a lousy single right here.
There you go. You called it. Owings scores. They will wave Drury, and he will score. David Peralta, the 2-run single, and it's 8-4. That was a lousy single.
I love lousy singles, especially with 2 men in scoring position. Boy, he started out as a rough at bat. David ducked out of the way of a curveball early and kind of embarrassed himself, swung at a couple of high fastballs out of the zone, or at least at the borderline of the top of the zone, and then drives one through that pole shift to get 2 teammates on the plate.
So the lead is back to 4, still just 1 out. Here's Ender Inciarte. And Ender bidding for a hit, but he lines it right to Kendrick. Hang with him.
Number 2, Aaron Hill.
Aaron Hill now. Aaron has doubled and homered. The home run is 6th of the year. A solo shot to lead off the 5th. Diamondbacks now with 17 hits. And it is no small feat beating the Dodgers in this ballpark. They are 50-24 at home this season. They are on pace for their best home winning percentage since they were at Ebbets Field. Brad Ziegler will get the 9th. Peralta takes off. The throw from Grandal is not in time. And David has his 2nd stolen base tonight.
Second stolen base and a pair of torn pants. A little ventilation now.
It's a hot night here. It's a good look, though. At the feet, that's ball 4.
Number 11, A.J. Pollock.
Brings up A.J. Pollock. A.J. has a pair of doubles, an RBI, and a run scored. It's got Peralta at second, Aaron Hill at first. AJ batting in the 3 spot tonight. Goldie at cleanup. He's on deck. He did not go, Hunter Wendelstedt.
If Thomas throws that slow curveball again some point in this sequence, AJ may hit it out there in the pavilion. His timing was perfect on that pitch. Even though he took it, his stride was good, his hands were back, he saw the ball well. Nothing fooled him about that pitch.
Two 2-0. So he's on this one, as they say?
It looked like it to me. I mean, front foot came down. He just paused ever so slightly as he recognized the off-speed pitch and was ready to fire those hands through the hitting zone, but the pitch dropped below the strike zone.
Blasts it right at the shortstop. Seager drops it and can't recover. The bases are loaded. E6. And that'll give Goldie a chance to come up here. Bases full, 2 down. He homered his last at bat. Corey Seager.
Just off his glove and far enough away that they can't get it out anywhere on the infield on that play. That ball was hit really hard. Surprising to see Seager miss it the way he did.
Goldie banged one off the left field foul pole his last time up, his 29th home run. And his 3rd home run at Dodger Stadium this year. Eighth man to bat here in the Diamondback 9th.
I mentioned Dusty Baker earlier. In his days as a hitting coach and then later as a manager, he used to talk about putting a game out of slam range. Get that 5th run lead. So even if the Dodgers should happen to come up in the bottom of the inning and load up the bases and somebody go deep, you still have a 1-run lead in the ball game if you can find a way to push across that 5th run of a lead.
Called strike 3. But the Diamondbacks on David Peralta's 2-run single tack on 2 runs. Bottom 9 from Dodger Stadium coming up. It's 8-4 D-backs. Time the Diamondbacks won a game at Dodger Stadium 464 days ago.
Oh my.
And the winning pitcher of that ball game, current Dodger Bronson Arroyo. And Brad Ziegler trying to close this one out. It's been too long. 0-6 here this year. Chris Owings remains in the ball game. He takes over at second base for Aaron Hill. And the top of the order leads it all for LA in the ninth. Carl Crawford, Chase Utley, Adrian Gonzalez. Crawford singled in the second. He's 1 for 4. Diamondback Live postgame show with Todd Walsh follows our ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona. And don't forget, right after that, Brad Sesmat's Football AZ show. Charles Davis will be on the program from the NFL on Fox, talking Cardinals Bears. Rich Rod from U of A on the show as well. 0-2. Got a razor?
A weed eater.
Hold still. Justin Turner may be the best hitter in baseball history that looks like Danny Bonaducci.
Yeah, you know, I've been trying to figure him out for 2 years now, and I think it's finally dawned on me.
What do you got?
When I was a kid, and I think they still have them, they had what they called troll dolls.
Jeez.
And they had this big mop of hair as Crawford grounds one to Ahmed at short. Should be no problem. One down. And little glass eyes and kind of a goofy looking face and the long hair in different colors. And every time I look at Turner, I think about troll dolls. Used to, you'd rub their hair for good luck. Well, he's got all kinds of good luck there.
You got anything on Van Slyke?
No.
No.
A little bit of President Lincoln there, but
there you go.
Get him a stovepipe hat or whatever they used to call those.
Chase Utley. They had a Justin Turner bobblehead doll here this year. Big red beard on it. Looked good.
Big bobblehead doll day coming up.
Oh. Vin. Vin working great Vin Scully. Just to our right here, Dodger Stadium. Has bobblehead day coming up Wednesday, I think.
I think it's Wednesday, yeah.
There he is.
Still on probationary status. They're not sure if they like him or not. They're going to let him finish out the year and then address it.
You just think he was once calling games at Ebbets Field.
How about that?
It's amazing. Told they've booked Vin for the Diamondback Live pregame show later this week.
Nice.
Todd Walsh. Todd brings in the guests. It's LA, so we got a big star. That's in the seats.
You think about all the greats and the near greats and the not so greats that Vin Scully has had the opportunity to watch play this game over the years. Man, how many games has he done? How many games has he seen?
That's all the postseason games in the 70s and 80s for the networks. In the air, right center field. Ender INCIARTE in front of the wall, and A.J. Pollock has it. Almost a collision out there. And it's out number 2 in the ninth.
First baseman, number 23.
A.J. after San Francisco, he's just going to catch everything.
Why not?
Yep.
I like the way he's taking charge of this outfield. I mean, Peralta and INCIARTE on either side of him. You know, they've kind of gotten together as a unit, and AJ realizes that as a center fielder, you're supposed to be the captain of the outfield, take charge of anything you think you can get to, and be very vocal about it. And he's done that this year.
Adrian Gonzalez. He has homered and walked tonight, 1 for 3. And I know that Matt Reynolds, who was trying to go 2 full innings, gave up the homer to GRANDAL in the 8th, but the Diamondback bullpen has done a tremendous job here tonight. Chacin settled down, did a very good job after a rocky 1st and 2nd, and the bullpen has made it stick.
And by all rights, that 2-run homer should have been a solo. He had Corey Seager struck out on ball 4 right before the YASMANI GRANDAL home run.
That it was a walk, and then GRANDAL homered. 1-2. Headed for the left field corner, and it'll one-hop the wall. A double for Gonzalez, his 33rd.
Adrian Gonzalez now 6 for 8 lifetime against Brad Ziegler. Not very many hitters in baseball can say they've had any measure of success against Brad. But Adrian Gonzalez going the opposite way, bounces that one up into the seats for a book rule double.
Howie Kendrick. Kendrick singled and scored in the 1st, 1 for 4. Just back over the weekend from a hamstring strain that kept him out about 6 weeks. Talk about keeping the ball down. This is in the air, left field. Peralta is there, and the Diamondbacks have their first win this year at Dodger Stadium. 8-4 the final. 464 days, but they are in the W column here in LA.
Does it feel good? Get that monkey off your back. Come back tomorrow. Try to win another ball game. We know what's awaiting the last 2 games of this Dodger series, so try to do the best you can in the first 2.
Jhoulys Chacin gets his first D-backs win. Brett Anderson the loss, 3 hours 23 minutes, and the Diamondbacks improved to 1-6 at Dodger Stadium this year. 5-11 against LA for the season, with 3 more here to play as we close out the season series. Reaction from the clubhouse is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondback Live postgame show with Tom Walsh all the way. It started out a little rough. Dodgers had a 2-0 lead after 1, but it's an 8-4 D-backs final. They win it here in LA. Much more from Dodger Stadium after this.